Hi everybody, my name is Ermis, as you may have noticed already. I'm a holy priest, and this here is my personal guide to healing. It's not going to be perfect, but I just want to make this quick reference guide for anyone who's going to be healing as priest and share with you my thoughts and experiences that I have gathered over the time, right? Before I get into the details, I'll quickly show you guys my gear if anyone's interested. I won't spend too much time on this. If you want to take a closer look, you can always pause the video. I try to follow the Icy Veins best in slot list. Most of those items are pretty high in the hierarchy. They're not perfect. My set is not perfect best in slot, but I'm getting there, more or less, right? These items give me a total of 860 plus healing, which is fairly high in my opinion. Okay. And as for my talents, they're pretty basic. I don't go deep holy. I don't use light well because this feels like a waste of mana, to be honest. It's a waste of talent. I go into discipline. I get up to divine spirit. These are my talents, and then I go into holy, right? Uh, particular. In particular, this talent right here. I want to talk about this one. I normally would never pick this talent because normally damage isn't supposed to get to you anyway, right? And it'll be much better to invest the talent points into, say, critical effect chance or maybe Spirit of Redemption, which would be amazing, right? But this talent, I got this talent to fight Velstros in Blackwing Lair. For that one boss, I got this thing because this talent helps me a lot on him, and I would highly recommend if you're doing Blackwing Lair, take this talent. Until you're in BWL, you do not need this. Put these points somewhere else, right? Uh, Also, I'm particularly skeptical about spiritual healing, and not because it's a bad thing, because plus 10% healing is amazing. However, I'm currently testing this. I'm not sure, but it seems to be bugged in the current version of Warcraft. I might be wrong, but my statistical analysis of my heals seems to show that this doesn't always work for some reason, right? So be mindful. After I do some more testing, I'll discuss this further. Add-ons wise, I don't use any like special like rare add-ons or some fancy add-ons. I just straight up use weak auras, so I have all of my cooldowns in front of me because you want to see this, right? You want to know when your inner focus comes off cooldown. You want to know when your fear word comes off cooldown, when you can use the next shield, whether or not you can use desperate prayer, right? Down here I have personal buffs, whether or not like my stamina, whether or not I need to refresh my stamina, my spirit, my armor, right? In groups I have like whether or not I have the food buff, because you always wanna have all of your buffs up, and you need to know when they're running out to refresh them. You do not want to be in the middle of a Nefarian fight and realize that, oh wait, I don't have a spirit buff on me, because this thing costs 800 mana. You do not want to be spending that during a fight, right? So be prepared. Add-ons wise, I would also recommend heal comms. Heal comms. It's written like this. There's also another add-on which I can't remember, but basically this shows you during a raid whether or not someone is currently being healed by someone else. So you don't waste time healing that one person and focus on healing someone else who's injured, right? And speaking of those injuries, this is what I want to talk to you about. Uh, I don't know how many people have done this, but it's very important to set up your raid profiles correctly. In the beginning, normally we have like the round party frames, like 5 people here, round, and when you're in a raid, we have these square boxes everywhere. But what I want to recommend is use those raid frames for everything in your parties. I'll quickly show you how to do this because I'm fairly certain you have an idea. But in interface options, down here, raid profiles, tick this, use raid style party frames. This will turn those round portraits into proper party frames. And always have this picked, show debuffs, so you know if someone has a debuff. Some would argue that this you would want to select this, dispel only dispellable debuffs, so that, for example, if someone has a Sunder armor on them, you're not distracted by it. However, do not tick this. You need to know what debuffs your tank has on them, what debuffs somebody else has, because some non-dispellable debuffs, which this thing would hide, could be important. That would mean that you need to focus on the person, so do not select this. And down here, display health text. This is the main reason I use raid frames. Display health text. Normally, like, there's none here, and normally you see the color of that small frame like gradually fade as the person gets hurt. But health lost, if you have this selected, right? I don't have a party right now, so I can't show this to you, but if you have this selected, it will show you specifically how much health each person is missing from their maximum. And that's very important, because if I know that someone is missing 500 health, I'm not going to waste mana casting a 3000 health point heal, right? I'll use something smaller. And that allows you to select a more appropriate spell, right? So definitely, absolutely have this selected, health lost. You can have like multiple profiles for parties, for like 40-person raids, like smaller size, for 20-person raids. Say you want to go to Zul'Gurub, you can like have slightly larger frames, right? But generally, this is how I want you to set up your raid profiles. Remember, show debuffs, do not tick this, and health lost. Always use them. Right, that's for the party frames. Now, down here, as you would have noticed, I have my healing spells. I want to talk about each healing spell in particular separately, because I find this a very tricky thing about what people seem to recommend each other. If you go into Warcraft logs and you look up people who have parsed high, who have healed the most, you'll see a very large number of people who just use flash heal, right? You'll see a lot of flash heals up there. And this might lead you to believe that the flash heal is the best healing spell to use. But here's a problem. Here's the problem with those logs. Say if I'm a tank and I'm injured for 1000 health, and 2 people are healing me, if one of them casts his healing spell in a second and a half, say like a flash heal, and if another one is casting something that's 2.5 seconds to cast, the one who cast the flash heal will be the one to heal me, and they'll be the one to get those points, right? The other guy will have wasted his mana. That means that whoever heals fastest gets to the top of the healing ladder quicker. That incentivizes you to use flash heal. But here's another problem. It's extremely expensive. Like, if you look at rank 5 flash heal, for me with my bonus healing, rank 5 flash heal heals for 1000 health points. And so does rank 1 heal. Okay, just a tiny bit less, right? These numbers, I'll show you how they come up, but this is the average amount that each spell of mine heals. To heal 1000 hit points with flash heal, I need to use 265 mana. To heal the same amount with a rank 1 heal, I use 132 mana. I use half as much mana for the same effect. That means I can last twice as long. That means I can heal twice as much of health before running out of mana. In short fights, you're not going to notice this. In short fights, which are like a minute long, 40 seconds long, right? Or if they're like 20 seconds, very intense, you're not going to notice this. But in a long fight, say in Molten Core Majordomo, right? Or in Flame Gore, or with Nefarian, like the fight with Nefarian, for me lasts for 5 or 6 minutes, right? In those fights, you're gonna notice that if you only use Flesh Heal, you'll run out of mana completely halfway into the fight, and mana potions won't be enough, right? That's the reason why I try to avoid using Flesh Heal if I can. My recommendation to you guys is to pick out a healing spell, say rank 2 heal, rank 3 heal, whichever heals for 1,000, which is a very nice round number, and heal with that one. And if your tank is dying, or you're in a particularly tough situation, for example, in Molten Core, the elementals near Baron Geddon, on the map, I'm not sure if I can show you this properly. Right. But on the map on Baron Geddon, somewhere in this area, like this particular area is full of elementals that do quick 3,000 health point damage to a random person in the party, right? And that it can happen multiple times. In that situation, you need to quickly top them off so they can survive another hit. That's where you need Flash Heal. That's where you need that extra 1 second time that this saves you, right? And in Blackwing Lair, oh, this is a bit complicated. I can't figure this out. But in Blackwing Lair, when you get to engineers, right? The tech engineers, which do a lot of quick damage to your mages and whoever's attacking them. Same thing there. You need quick heals, Flash Heal. In all other circumstances, when you have reasonable certainty that a person can survive the next 2 seconds, try to use an ordinary heal, because this will keep you lasting longer. And the longer you can keep healing, the longer your party will survive if it's a tough fight. So always, always, always use as mana efficient heals as you can. And this is where we get into the nitty-gritty of the situation. These tiny numbers. Now, these numbers I used with macros. I'm using macros. I'll show you this in a second. And I renamed these macros to the amount that each spell heals, right? So, for example, my rank 4 greater heal heals for 2.8k health points. How is this calculated? Let me skip to my lovely, lovely spreadsheet. Now, it's a bit complex. Ignore this for a second, right? Let's jump here. How that normally is calculated. As you can see, greater heal, in the description you can read that it's a slow casting spell that heals a single target for 1994 to 2224, right? 1994 to 2224. So, on average, your greater heal, rank 4 greater heal, will heal for 2.1k. And if you have 860 spell healing, it's going to benefit from it. Priest spells benefit with this formula. The casting spells use only a portion of this amount. This amount is allocated to 3.5 seconds of casting time, right? If a spell takes a short amount of time to cast, it gets less. So a greater heal, which takes 2.5 seconds to cast, right, will benefit with this amount. 2.5 as a share of 3.5 multiplied by this 860, right, with this proportion. So my greater heal will actually get this much added to it. Not more, not less, this much. As a result, my greater heal should be healing for 2700, right? For shorter spells, say a flash heal, which takes 1.6 seconds, 1.5 seconds, I mean, right? It's 1.5 divided by 3.5 times 860. A flash heal would gets 370 healing, bonus healing. As you notice, like the slower spells benefit more from your gear. The better gear you have, the more and more worth it are your slower spells. So keep that in mind. In addition to that, Renew, your healing over time, Renew spell, gets all of it. Your Renew is buffed by the entirety of your plus healing. And also your shield gets a measly 10% of this. So your highest rank 10 power shield, powered shield gets like just under 1100 damage. It gets an extra 86. Yeah, I guess 86 damage could help, but in the grand scheme of things, this is not efficient. Like you can just ignore your plus healing's effect on your shield, so just throw it away, right? This is the plus healing that we get. Now, as you may have noticed, this formula says that I should be healing 2700 with my greater heal, while my little tiny number here, as we can take a closer look, is 2850. Now, where did I get this? You could say that this is the talent that affects it, spiritual healing. However, it says it increases the amount of heal by 10%, and 2700 increased by 10%. Is 3000, not 2800. So where did I get this number? And this is where my nerdiness shows. Take your combat log. I come to this secluded location in Ironforge. This is where the priest and mage trainers are, right? The second floor. The stairs are up here. I come here. I bring some water, right? And I click what happened to me. I then actually spend about an hour healing myself. Because as you heal yourself in the combat logs, what happened to me, it shows you Hermes heals Hermes for 0, but 978 overhealed. This shows me my actual healing per spell, right? I just come here, I do this. I do this 20 times for every single one of these spells. And I write it in my spreadsheet, specifically on this page. What I do is just right here, like I write 978, like 984, and 10,002, right? And I fill this in. I heal myself 20 times, and I calculate the average amount that I heal myself by. And that average amount is the actual amount of my healing. That's the actual number here, right? I'm also careful not to accidentally include critical heals. I don't know if I'll be able to trigger this for you guys in the next 3 casts, because I don't want to spend too much time on this, right? Okay, it triggered. It actually triggered. These critical heals would taint my average, right? Because, for example, my flesh heal, rank 5, heals around 1000 damage, 1500 here. That's why I reduced that amount for the purposes of my analysis. Your critical heals add 50% to your healing. So, for example, if you're going to heal, normally if you're going to heal for 1000, if you crit, you heal for 1500, right? It's a 50% bonus. I ignore this. For the purposes of my numbers, of my analysis, I ignore the critical chance and its effect. I want to eliminate it. I want the average normal amounts, right? I just do this. I do this 20 times for each of those spells. for heals, for greater heals, for renew, for flash heal, for each of the prayer of healings, and I write them in this spreadsheet. This is my big spreadsheet. Now, it may seem intimidating, but as you construct it bit by bit, you kind of get it. So I want to like walk you through this. I'll try not to bore you too much, right? Basically, this is every spell, every rank of every healing spell I have. Their base heal and their actual average heal. Like, this is my observations. This node actually needs updating. It's 860 right now. Right. Yeah, I should save this. Okay. Average heal, and right next to it, I write the amount of mana that each of these spells requires. Here's the cast time, cooldown, heal over time duration, and the number of targets that this spell can heal. Now, I want you to focus your attention on these two parameters: healing per second and healing per mana cost. Because as you're going to notice, right? For example, flash heal. My highest rank of flash heal heals for about 900 health points each second, which is its average healing divided by its cast time, and, well, cooldown, this is irrelevant. So 1.3 divided by 1.5, right? That's my heal per second. Essentially, this is how much consistent damage I can sustain the tank for. So, for example, if a tank is taking 1,000 damage each second, if I can just cast rank 7 flash heal, he's not going to survive. He will die. I need to use something else. For example, greater heal. Greater heal rank 4, even though it is slower, but because of the huge amounts it heals, you get more healing per second on average. However, this is chunky, right? There's a chunky amount. And this right here, HPM is healing amount divided by the mana cost. Now, each of these spells is actually very different in its healing per second and its mana efficiency, right? The higher this number, for example, this 10. For rank 1 heal, this means that for each point of mana that I spend, I heal 10 points of health. As you'll notice, for example, the shield is very inefficient, right? Power Word Shield only shields for 2.5 health points for every point of mana you spend. This is why shield isn't a very useful thing in the long term. You should use this specifically in clutch situations when either your tank is about to die or when your rogue or say your warlock is about to die or someone is about to die, right? If they're not in immediate danger, do not use this spell. It'll be a waste of mana, right? So this is the shield, and as you can see, it does not really benefit from the bonus healing. And it's like reasonable heal per, like, efficiency is 2.6. As you can see, like, lower levels get more efficiency, but they also shield for much less. So it's like rank 2 shield is useless. Like 100 shielding for 100 when the damage is in the thousands is a waste of time. As you can see at renew, for example, right? This is the number that I'm currently used to, 6. In general, I'm used to like 6 health points per mana spent. As you can see, the lower grades of renew are more and more efficient, right? This is called downgrading. For example, if instead of rank 9 you use rank 8, renew, you will heal less over time, but you will save more mana as you do it, and you'll be able to heal for more. The same effect is extremely pronounced in heal and greater heals, where the largest spell, Greater Heal rank 4, has an efficiency rating of 5, while Heal rank 1 has an efficiency rating of 10. You can literally heal twice as much in the same amount of mana spent if you use Heal rank 1 than Greater Heal rank 4. Right? All fine and dandy. However, I would like you to direct your attention to this Flash Heal. Look at this, right? Highest rank of Flash Heal. Okay, even bring it up here, like rank 4, rank 5. Its efficiency rating is like 3.5, 4. The efficiency rating is in the toilet. This is not good. Specifically, like 3.5 for rank 7 Flash Heal, when I have 10 on my rank 1 heal. Right? This is why I try to avoid using Flash Heal. Trust me, if you only use Flash Heal, you're gonna run out of mana in the middle of the fight. You're gonna have to spend that very expensive major mana potion, and even then, for the next 2 minutes, you don't have mana potions, you're gonna run out, right? You're gonna have to go into runes. So, this is the efficiency that you need to keep in mind, and this is why downranking is important. As of right now, I use every single rank of heal and greater heal, but for Flash Heal, I use rank 5 because it heals for just over 1,000 health points, and I kind of like the nice round number, so I go for this one. Right, it's more efficient than the highest level, so I go for that one. Now the final two healing spells we have is Prayer of Healing, which I love. I love this spell so much. It's very useful. And Holy Nova. Now, Prayer of Healing, the effectiveness of this spell depends on how many targets you're healing. It cannot reach anyone outside of your party. Like, even in the raid of 40, this only touches the 5 people you're in a party with, right? One of the 8 groups. Only your group. And it has an extremely large mana cost. Where is it? Yeah, mana, right here. Right, Prayer of Healing. It's extremely expensive. Actually, it's... Yeah, I accidentally made a mistake with the mana cost for some reason. Anyway. Yeah, let's get rid of that. Ah, yeah, right. I got rid of that talent. Yeah, this is it. For 1,000 mana, right? It's very expensive. But with a large number of targets, it becomes worth it. If only one person is injured, right? If only one person is injured, the efficiency is abysmal, right? 1. It's horrible. I'd rather use Flash Heal, right? 2 targets, a bit better. 3 targets, okay, we're approaching Flash Heal territory. Ideally, you want to use it on 4 or 5 people. On 5 targets, this is fairly very efficient. I especially like using Prayer of Healing with Inner Focus because it makes a prayer free. And if, say, we got a large area of effect damage, which like damaged all of the people in my group, I just pop Inner Focus. And the highest rank flame is a prayer because I don't care, right? Oh, nice. Critical. Bonus armor. Sweet. But again, if like only 2 people are injured, if only three people are injured, you might as well just use your Flash Heal. Trust me. Do not try to avoid using Prayer of Healing without Inner Focus or without more people taking damage, right? Of course, healing 3 people with Flash Heal is 4.5 seconds. Healing them with Prayer is 3 seconds. So it's another time consideration. Normally, when we're in groups, I find that I'm more comfortable using a prayer to heal all of them immediately so I can continue healing the other people in the group. So even though it is less efficient than just using ordinary heals, I still go for this. I still use this for 3 people, not so much. 3 to 4, yeah. Sometimes used for 3 people. So use this. And finally, Holy Nova. Surprisingly, I actually was not expecting this, but even though it has a short range, for 5 targets, it has higher healing per second than your Prayer of Healing and then your Greater Heal. It is the highest healing per second amount out of all of your spells. Of course, over time this changes. Because your Prayer of Healing gets a larger benefit of your bonus healing than your Holy Nova. However, it's still very high in the healing amounts for large groups. For one person, not so much. Flash heal is way better, right? For 5 people. However, its mana efficiency is so extremely low, which combined with its short radius leads me to never use this spell. I do not use Holy Nova for healing. The only time I ever use Holy Nova is if I need to flush out a rogue which is in stealth somewhere around me, or when I'm farming Lashes and Dire Maul for money, right? Otherwise, I do not use this spell. But it's not bad. It's useful. Okay. Now, the problem I have with these formulas that I told you is that they're not consistent. Look, I am even talent test here. There's the problem. These on the left are the actual amounts that these spells heal in my current condition, right? With my current talents, everything, my bonus healing, I did this today, like literally a few hours ago. To the right, this is the amount that it's supposed to heal based on this formula. And this right here is this column is without the 10% increase from spiritual healing, and this right here is with the increase, like times 1.1. And of course, this is what's expected, and this is what actually happened. Ideally, these numbers should match these numbers. Well, surprise, surprise, they don't. They don't. What I've noticed is for Renew, like the first 2 ranks get much less from the bonus healing, which, as I mentioned earlier, is natural because lower level spells don't get as much from your bonus healing. But up here, right, above level rank 3, my healing from Renew is more consistent with the simple A plus B calculation, and they do not seem to benefit from the talent, from the 10% talent, right? Because consistently this talent predicts more healing than it actually does. For heal is the same situation. The averages, the actual averages, seem to be more in line without the 10%. Same thing for my flash heal. Now, for my greater heal, it seems to be somewhere in the middle, right? Like, for example, here, it actually heals for 2.1k, while without the talent, it would heal 2000, but with the talent, the formula predicts 2200. It's somewhere in the middle. So it seems that this talent is not consistently applied to every spell, despite what it says in the description. feels misleading to me, honestly. And seeing that it doesn't seem to have that much of an effect, I would possibly not take this. I've been disconnected. Great. I'll quickly reconnect. And meanwhile, I'll discuss it here. Okay. Now I haven't finished the testing. Disclaimer: I haven't finished the testing because I still need to remove that talent, do all this healing without the talent, and then use it again. Right. So I'm not. These numbers are not conclusive. Maybe the formula is off. Maybe the talent does benefit you, and maybe these amounts are with the benefit. However, I'd still caution you to pay attention to that talent, right, and see whether or not it's worth it. And this is what I would like you to do. These numbers are strictly for me, right? These are what my amounts, what my bonuses. Yeah, it's supposed to be running. So, what my plus healing gives. If you have like lower, if you have like 600 plus healing, then in that case maybe your ordinary heals would not be as efficient. Maybe you'd go for rank 2 heals. Maybe you'd go for more greater heals. Maybe flash heals would be more worth it to you, right? When compared to ordinary heals. You need to take all this into account. Now, of course, depends on how much you want it, how seriously you're gonna take this. Are you actually going to sit for an hour in Ironforge healing yourself and taking this into a spreadsheet? Realistically, I don't think you are, right? However, if you decide to do this, I highly recommend that you take the averages and compare them against what the formula actually predicts, right? Yeah, I'm back. So do something like this, do some basic calculations, make sure you know what you're doing, because it's very important to know what we're doing. Finally, I want to talk to you about macros. I want to talk to you about this thing, these numbers right here. I found that an extremely large upgrade to my healing came from me using macros. And I don't use anything like super complicated. I just use this at mouse over, right? If you're not using this, trust me, you should be. What this does is normally what we do is we're in a fight. Let's say, dear Tiza Battleforge, Ms. or Mrs. Battleforge will be the boss, right? She's fighting. There's a tank. If I need to heal the tank, I need to select the tank, heal. It's gonna heal, and then I look at the boss again because I want to be looking at the boss. I want to see what they're casting, whether or not they're casting another ability, how much health they have, how hard do I need to try to conserve mana, right? But here's the thing: every time I need to switch over to another target, this not only takes my attention off Tiza, but it also takes time. This movement takes time. Clicking to another person and then clicking the heal takes time, right? However, if I use a macro instead of a normal heal, if my mouse is simply over my ally, let's say, oh, she's an ally, she's healable. If I just mouse over, I don't click them, I don't touch them at all. Just mouse over them, their name pops up, I can cast the spell immediately, right? I can cast the spell immediately. This not only saves you the time of clicking, that extra half a second that could actually save your tank. Trust me, it can. Shut up. But also, I think it's hilarious. But also, I can stare at the tank while healing other people. Right now, I'm gonna heal myself. Right? See, I can heal. No one's. I can heal like Theodros. Boom. See, I healed him. I'm still looking at her. This allows me to quickly heal people while watching whatever target I'm supposed to be watching. Maybe I'm supposed to be watching her. Maybe I'm supposed to be watching the tank to make sure he always has fear ward on him. Right? I'm a dwarf priest. This is another one of my this is another job that I have to do, right? Mouse over macros allow me to do this. Now, the build itself is pretty simple. The hashtag show tooltip ensures that whatever spell is being cast, the tooltip, like this box shows up, and that this small thing shows up, right? Slash cast square bracket at, like the symbol they use in emails, mouse over. This exists. You can get rid of it. You don't really need it, but for some reason I added it. I don't remember what it does, but I did. This bracket greater heal, well, rank 1 for this particular spell. Semicolon greater heal rank 1. Now, what does this bit do? This part specifically heals whatever I'm mousing over. However, it could be there could be a situation when either who I'm mousing over can't be healed, or I need to prepare the spell for some reason, right? If I need to heal someone else, something that I can't mouse over right now. What the sequence does is, if this logic fails, if there's nothing under my mouse, it just puts the greater heal in my hand. It just puts the spell in my hand, right? That's what this semicolon does. So this combination, I think, would improve your healing efficiency a lot, right? Same thing for flash heal for every healing spell. For prayer of healing, I don't have any like mouse overs or anything. I just use these macros to show me how much each of them heals. So I know, like, if everyone's missing 600 health, I'll use rank 1. If a bit more, right? Also, absolutely have abolish disease on your mouse over, and dispel magic on your mouse over. You need this. The time saving element effect of the mouse over is amplified when you're dealing with, say, your top DPS who is being mind controlled by your enemy and is currently targeting your best healer. You want that half a second of time. You want to save your healer as fast as you can, right? You need this on mouse over. Use this. I also have the shield, and I put this macro together while I was leveling. I still don't feel like letting it go. I have this separately on Shift R. This is simply to cast shield on myself, right? Without having to like target myself. Which basically allows me to like keep running, keep dodging whatever's happening, and I'll just click it and it automatically casts this on myself. I don't need to like click Alt something, Alt spell. I just cast at player, power word shield, right? It's a quick self heal. It's quick self shield. There's another thing that these macros allow. I just haven't figured out how to use this. Is the modifiers. You could actually have one box, one spell, one macro to cast multiple spells depending on what you're pressing. That's how you build it. Say hashtag show tooltip. That's it. Now cast. Now we're gonna use the no mod modifier and the modifiers. Do this. Square brackets, no mod, close square brackets. And say, like, if I'm not pressing anything, if I'm not pressing Shift, Control, Alt, I just wanted to cast Resurrection. Semicolon. But if I'm pressing Shift, mod, colon, not semicolon, colon, like 2 dots, mod, Shift. If I'm pressing Shift, I want to cast Holy Nova, semicolon. But if I'm pressing Control, mod CTRL, I want to cast Flash Heal. And finally, if I'm pressing Alt, I want to cast heal rank 3. Save. Now, look at this. If you don't specify what rank of spell you're going to use, the macro is going to automatically assume that you want to use the highest rank of the spell possible, right? However, you can specify whatever rank you want to use by don't have a space, like heal without a space immediately, open round bracket, rank, space 3, close bracket. Right? And you can specify what rank you're using. As you've noticed, probably this is how I specify the rank of my spells. Right? Now, the macro that we have constructed, normally this casts Resurrection. But if I hold Shift, it casts Holy Nova. If I press Alt, it casts Heal. And if I press Control, it casts Flash Heal. You could use these combinations. I even have this here, right? Go away. You could use these combinations to modify, to further increase the variety of spells you have. Based on the situation, now use your imagination, right? For example, I have Q here, Shift Q could be something else, Control Q could be something else, Alt Q could be something else, right? This is something you could look into. But make sure that whatever combination you have is not already bound to your keyboard. For example, I have E bound on my renew, like here, but I have Shift E bound here. Which means that even though if I have like Shift Holy Nova, right? If I click this, that's what it does. But if I press Shift E, it automatically chooses this because the keybinds take precedence over modifiers. So if you have a keybind Shift E, then don't put something on a regular E that's going to use a shift, because you're not going to be able to use it, right? So again, no mod, 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 and you can make these in any sequence you want. If you could just avoid using them completely. You could just have no mod resurrection and mod shift Holy Nova, right? Resurrection, shift Holy Nova. But what's going to happen is if you press Control, it becomes unknown. If you press Alt, it becomes unknown, right? So keep this in mind. Now, delete this. I don't need this anymore. That was the macros. There is a lot more you can look into in macros. For example, there's a particular language on. Actually, don't need this. There's particular language depending on whether or not you have, whether or not you're in combat, whether or not you have mana, whether or not the target is alive, etc., etc. I don't want to go into macros because I don't know them. I don't know them well enough, so I won't fill your head with useless information. And finally, those are the spells, those are the macros. Finally, I want to mention consumables. I want to mention 2 consumables. Now, as we know, like my character is an alchemist. As we know, our rogue and hunter friends are crazy about this baby right here, Elixir of the Mongoose. They chug it like crazy. By the way, bonus information: this does not stack with agility potion, with an Elixir of Agility. Even though the 2 bonuses show up, the stats do not stack, so don't waste them. However, priests. As a priest, I once fell in love with this one, with this elixir. Elixir of the Sages. It gives, for 1 hour, it gives you 18 intellect and 18 spirit. And since priests benefit from spirit by not just having mana regeneration, but also the bonus healing, thanks to this talent right here, spiritual guidance, right? This was my go-to elixir for dungeons and raids. However, I noticed that unfortunately the buff from this elixir does not stack with the mage's intellect buff. right? And in raids, you most of the time you have an intellect buff on you, right? And even in most dungeons, someone's gonna be a mage. It's very rare for a group not to have a mage. That means that this elixir became useless, and for a long time, uh, I did not have any like really consistent consumables that would affect my healing. Of course, there's always the Flask of Distilled Wisdom that gives 2,000 mana to your mana pool for 2 hours, which is amazing. But this thing is extremely expensive. Right now on my server, it's worth about 250 gold, 200 gold. Ignore this number because I can't really get this add-on to work properly, right? So this thing's expensive. But with the Zandalar tribe, with the Azulgurub expansion, we got this lovely recipe for a mage blood potion. You can, as an alchemist, you can get this recipe if you're revered with the Zandalari tribe. It's not too difficult to get there because every elite in Zul group gives you reputation, and you can actually buy your reputation by buying bijus on the auction house. But this potion gives you 12 mana per 5 seconds for an hour. This thing is amazing. It is not cancelled by any other buff that I'm aware of. You can just drink it and you can always have it in the raid. It's very useful. It's a bit on the expensive side. Like you can farm a lot of dream foils in Dharmal as a priest and as herbalist, but plague blooms are pretty hard to get, right? Because the best place to farm them is Eastern Plaguelands, and that place is a battlefield, not quite somewhere where a holy priest would want to be. At least someone with my PvP skills. So it's a bit of an expensive thing to make. However, if you can get this thing, you need this in raids. This helps you a lot. In addition to this potion, elixir, it's called potion, but it's supposed to be elixir, right? In addition to that, we have nightfin soup. It's a cooking recipe. I'm not sure where I got it, where I learned it, but I know it. It takes a raw nightfin and some refreshing spring water. It gives you 8 mana per 5 seconds. It's a quick food, right? It only lasts 10 minutes, but it's special from it's very different from other food buffs that you don't have to be sitting down for 10 seconds to eat it to get the buff. For example, like this monster omelet, right? If you spend at least 10 seconds eating, you'll become well fed. This doesn't say that. Which basically means you could be running towards the boss, you notice, oh wait, I don't have my nightfin buff on me. Right click and keep going. Don't even wait. You already have the buff on you, right? Drink this. I'm not gonna use this to show you the buff, but drink this. Together they give you 20 mana per 5 seconds. That is going to have an effect on your longevity, right? Short fights doesn't matter. Long fights definitely. Trash cleanup definitely. You want this. You don't want to have to be sitting down after every group, right? So get those. Of course, these night fins, you can either buy them in the auction house or you can fish them out. You can get them after midnight realm time. Of course, you can get them after 9 p.m. realm time, but there's a lower probability. You get them in rivers and lakes. But you could also, I guess, use this. It's not as good. It's not even close. But if you're revered with the Argent Dawn, you can buy this, and it gives you 10 spirit. Also, it's also instant, right? You don't even have to sit down. Gives you 10 spirit. This is a tiny boost to your mana regeneration and a small boost to your plus healing because again of this talent. But it's not huge. It's not a game changer, right? You can be fine if you don't have this. But if you don't have Nightfin or you don't feel like wasting Nightfin, plus 10 spirit is better than nothing, right? So keep that in mind as well. What else? Overall, there isn't much that I can think of anymore at the moment. Always have a bunch of candles with you. Like I take these sacred candles with me into raids. Always have an extra one here. Always have a stack of light feathers. Always have a stack of light feathers because you can do this. And this feels amazing, especially when you're running over water while everyone else is swimming on their way to Onyxia. You just run over them and you mess with them. It's pretty mean. Don't do that too much. They're gonna hate you, but it's good once in a while. So have these light feathers. You need these. Mages need them too, but priests benefit from them more because we can actually walk on water with these. Mages can't. Right. Always have your quintessence, your Drakefire helmet, your Onyxia scale cloak in your inventory at all times. Yeah, there's the Argenton. We don't care about that one. Right. Overall, this is my general opinion on what to do with a priest. This is what I personally do. There could be more specific, like more math-based answers to like which items are the best, which specific ranks of renew you could use. For example, like there could be some statistical analysis out there that shows that, you know what, the tank isn't taking 300 damage every 2 seconds. He takes 250 damage every 2 seconds, so you don't have to cast a high rank of renew. Something like that could be out there. Keep searching. I'm not, because I'm a bit too lazy to do that, right? So this is overall what I wanted to show you. I hope this has been useful to you. I hope this gave you some tips, maybe some ideas that I did not specifically show you. But maybe this can eventually make you a better healer, right? And a good healer is valued very, very much. Well, on that note, I would like to say goodbye. It was a pleasure doing this video for you, and I hope you benefited.